Welcome to the Featured Anime Podcast. I'm your host, Jack.
And I'm Rick.
And today we are talking about Soul Eater.
Full. Oh, God.
Which is a pretty common theme, especially in, I want to say, 4 or 5 different episodes. Maybe 6.
Out of 51 episodes. And it's such, I'm not going to call it BS, but kind of BS, that it permeates the entire series just on principle.
I actually agree with you. It does permeate the entire series just on principle alone. But this was actually a combined choice this week. We both actually just got back from a nice little vacation. As we said on the last episode, those were pre-recorded. This one is not weeks in advance.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie though. This was a challenge to finish in time. Like, I realized we had an extended period to do it, but dear Lord, 51 episodes is going to be a rare occurrence, I would say.
Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, this was 51 episodes long. It actually aired in April 2008, ran all the way through March 2009. The producers for it were TV Tokyo, Aniplex, Dentsu, Media Factory, and the studio was Bones.
Not to interrupt too early, but whenever you see Aniplex and just that series of, what are we going to call them, producers?
Yeah.
You automatically, well, I automatically assume it's just a higher tier of anime. Better storytelling, better anime, more money to throw at it. But just overall quality comes with those names, you know?
No, I totally understand. I feel you 100% there. The source of it was a manga, and the genres are action, fantasy, comedy, supernatural, and Shounen for it.
I'm really surprised horror is not part of that.
I mean, I guess you could consider it horror, but I really don't think it touches on that because it wasn't there to try and scare you.
You know, you saw the sun and the moon, right?
Yeah.
That was some creepy shit.
It was. The sun and moon were pretty creepy and at times weird too.
Yeah. Well, the reason I would say horror is because, so the main premise is typically you have a pair of people, a Meister and a weapon, who for some reason is also a person, and they go attack people who have done evil deeds. And one of the first people they encounter is Jack the Ripper. I would argue is Jack the Ripper horror would be tacked along with that name just on principle, and yeah.
Just on principle alone would be enough.
Yeah.
No, I totally feel you there, but even then, they didn't give Jack the Ripper the feel that he should. He was just kind of like a monster. And the same thing could be said about Al Capone because he was in there, and they did have some other large, very criminal organization style names in there. Not too often, but they did have that.
Yeah, I still thought it was pretty cool. Like the way they incorporated stuff like that. Not necessarily to, I guess, to focus on the bad guys, but it was more, not grounded, but it was nice to see names you could easily recognize as being evil, so you could identify which side is good and which side is bad, because it gets kind of skewed later on. And one of the really awesome things about this anime, just in the first 4 episodes, they're not really the beginning of the episode or the beginning of the series. It's kind of like 3 separate preludes, so you know who the main characters are.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that was genius because you have... So by episode 4, everyone starts off on the same, I guess, starting line. But each of the 3 episodes before that shows that they are extremely capable students, if you will.
Yeah.
And they're by themselves, they work really well together. They work really well, and they're able to do stuff. So they're not inept and they're not new.
You're right. They're not new. But Blackstar, he definitely is inept. He definitely is questionable in the intelligence department. most of the time. I mean, like, the guy's a brilliant fighter, and he is most definitely one of the top 3 at the school. And there's no denying that. I mean, and even in one of the episodes, they actually say that he is one of the top fighters at that school.
Now, it's a really neat ranking system in this academy. In the DW, is it DWMA?
Yeah.
DW, something like that. They say it so often it gets lost. But the way that the ranking system goes, the fighting system, it's basically in order to, I guess, rank up or get to a higher level, you get to fight whoever's there, who you choose, but a school teacher has to show up and officiate. I think it would be a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And that's a way to rank yourself up amongst class hierarchy. The way you rank up, though, in terms of true hierarchy, not just amongst your peers, but in terms of other statuses as well, because you have a 1, 2, and 3 star based on your ability level, and I would assume the number of times that you've ranked up a weapon. I would assume.
Maybe.
I mean, like, they never really detail as to differences between a 1 and 3 star, besides ability.
I always assumed a 3-star was like a teacher, because the only 3-star that was confirmed that we found was Sid, who unfortunately passes away.
Only to be brought back again as a zombie.
And nobody ever says how or why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I guess you could kind of insinuate that it was because of Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah.
He did it. I mean, like, he definitely has the look too, and they do say that he is quote unquote controlling him when he's really not. But
that was just part of, and this reminds me so much of, I don't know, maybe Harry Potter, I guess, because you have the 3 main characters who definitely get preferential treatment, you know?
Yeah, and but at the same time, too, especially in the later episodes, like maybe around 40, you find out that there's actually, or even before that, you find out, because Death the Kid, who's Death's son, Black Star, and then another character is the top 3 fighters at the school. Right?
Yeah, but you only find that out because Black Star goes into like a depression where he can't beat anybody. So he goes on like this tirade of just kicking everyone's butt.
No, it's not even that. It's during one of the Excalibur episodes when one of the characters, Hero, who you just meet the one time, gets Excalibur, and they try to fight him, and so it's him, it's Black Star, Death the Kid, and God, I can't remember that third guy's name.
The one with the fists.
Yeah, the gauntlets. Killick. That's it, Killick. You find out he's a top guy, and it's like, well, wait, if he's a top fighter, if he's one of the top guys to be there, like, why do we not know more about him? And you learn a little bit more. It's like there's 2 other people. There's like Ox, and then there's one other person, and it's like, wait. You mean to tell me you have 2 sets of 3, and they are basically on par, if not better, in terms of awesomeness comparatively, and we know nothing about them? You're just gonna randomly throw them in there? Like, why?
Plot
Always comes back to that plot.
Be it armor or device or Excalibur, it's all plot. Yeah, I wish it was better in the sense of making sense. But yeah, I got nothing. This, for a mind-numbing show, it is perfect. For a thought-provoking show, it has its merits.
Sure.
For a big-brained anime, look elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. It was, don't get us wrong. I thought it was a great show. It was really good, especially for what it was. It was really good. Definitely not thought provoking. And man, the plot armor on this was heavy. Heavy.
That last fight, though.
Okay,
we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But
look, one of the things about the show, one of the key aspects of it is it sets you up for a level of annoyance and ridiculous right off the bat. And I have to say how the only character that I found, two of the characters I found really annoying. One of the least annoying characters I found was Maka.
Yeah, because she's your straight man. She's the logic. She is, according to her words, the straight A student.
As for the other two, though, Death the Kid.
Oh, God.
And Black Star. I mean, like, I'm glad a little bit later on in the series, like after the first, 10 episodes, they started easing back on Black Star's yahoos. Just a little bit.
They only replaced it with Sid's "When I was alive, I was this kind of man."
Yeah.
I was the kind of man who did this. I was the kind of man who did that when I was alive.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, just long enough. You had enough yahoos just long enough to have it be replaced with that. And then also at the same time, you have to deal with Death the Kid and his
cemetery.
Yes.
Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah. I don't even know what to say on that.
Well,
I mean, like I get it. The dude has a problem, right? He's OCD to the extreme. I get it.
So to the point where mid-mission, your opening introduction to him, mid-mission, he starts to have a mental breakdown because he doesn't know if a picture in his house is tilted just a hair too far. And he leaves the mission to go check, only to find out, no, it's perfectly fine where he left it, but he felt like he would be trash if it was not perfect.
Exactly. And then he does the exact same thing again later on, and it has to do with toilet paper. He has 2 rolls, so that way it's perfectly symmetry in the bathroom, and both rolls have to have that perfect triangle right there on them for when he's ready to use them. And it's like, why? Like I get it. It's supposed to be quirky. It's supposed to be funny. Same thing with how Black Star is yelling Yahoo all the time. I get it.
Oh, not even that. Not even that. For the first 3 episodes where he's the main character in, he goes on and on about rules of assassin. Number 1, be quiet. Number 2, hold your breath. Number 3, wait for an introduction. Wait for the opportunity to attack. And he jumps in front of everybody going, Yahoo! It's me, bitches! I'm here to kill you all! What now? Damn, that was a good spotlight. We should do that again.
Yeah, every time. It's like, wait, you were just talking about being quiet and silent as an assassin, and at no point is he ever like that.
So he's like that with the exception of like when he gets seriously bent out of shape. And then you're like, oh crap, he can actually back it up. Like, we all knew he was strong. We all knew he had the ability to do special attacks that nobody else could. But like, he can legitimately do ninja stuff. And when he gets seriously bent out of shape against Mifune, he does something where it's kind of like a shadow clone, but with his weapon, and lands a fairly solid hit on a guy who is considered to be the sword god or the god of swords or something like that. Yeah, like
he's not considered the god of swords, but he's definitely ranked high in terms of swordmanship. But
are you sure? I thought he was at one point in time.
No.
And like in his introduction, he was introduced like, oh, I've got Mifune, the god of the sword. I can rule this town or something like that.
No.
Maybe it was the dub then, because.
Well, it's not that he was literally the god of the sword. It's just that mob boss that he was flashbacking to, that Mifune was flashbacking to.
That makes sense.
You know, like
But-
when you're sitting there and you're a killer, like, what does it matter what you're called, though, right?
Fair. But we should probably clarify what's going on, because I realize we're jumping around a lot and it's kind of confusing. So basically, you've got a miser and you have a person who's
a meister, not miser. Meister.
Oh, that's fair. A meister who can control and fight with weapons. Weapons are actually people who you find out were created by witches a long ass time ago. And in order for a weapon to be considered worthy to be wielded by Death himself, and apparently everyone is trying to get that honor, you have to kill 99, you have to collect 99 Kashin souls. A Kashin is created when somebody who's normal decides to go off and do very bad things. Very bad things, specifically killing and consuming somebody else's soul. Now, this will grant you immense power. However, it turns your soul from a normal blue, neutral, good color and good shape to this red Kashin egg. The weapons consume these Kashin eggs and get stronger as a result. Now, to become a death weapon or a death scythe, you need to consume 99 Kashin eggs and one soul egg. Or sorry, one witch's egg. Or witch's soul.
There you go.
Sorry. And one witch's soul. If you mess up on that final stage, all the Kashin eggs you had consumed previously are
forfeited.
Forfeited. I was going to say confiscated, but that doesn't make any sense. Are forfeit, which is how you meet Soul, who is honestly one of my favorite characters in the entire anime, and Mika.
Right. Also, this is a really great point or a really great spot, I should say, to point out that if you listen to it dubbed, it says they're confiscated. It says they're confiscated, but if you listen to it subbed, it says forfeited. And in terms of differences in between dubs and subs, it is massive the number of differences in between the two. So much so that it's disturbing.
Yeah, I wanted to take pictures and like show you that. Well, yeah, show you obviously, but show the listeners too. Like severe differences where one of the characters is kind of cruel in the sub, but in the dub, they're playfully mean. Like one of them's like, "You are a stupid bastard," and the dub is like, "You're so silly. I wish I could take you serious."
Yeah,
I'm like, what? Huh? Where is this from? This is like going. It's like watching Kill Bill on TV.
No, it's like watching Kill Bill become Sesame Street and then remove the whole kill portion of it.
Yeah, it was nuts. And so, how would you want to break this down? Like by arc or just overall? Because I would argue there was 3, maybe 4 arcs in this 2 season. Let's call it, because it's 24 and 24.
Yeah, it was all one season, ran all the way through. I mean, like,
really?
Yeah, it wasn't broken up into 2 seasons. It was straight up just one long run. It was a 151 episode run.
That's nuts.
Multiple arcs in it, but ultimately it really was just one run all the way through.
Okay, let's break it into segments then. First, you had Medusa as a bad witch,
which was a mainstay all the way throughout.
Yeah, I was gonna say she came back, which was kind of cool. And then you had the original Kashin, which I would say is Big Boss number 2 and 4.
Yes.
And then you had Arachna, and then with arachnophobia. So Arachne is the witch. Arachnophobia was her organization.
Yeah.
And then you had the final boss, which was the Kashin.
Yeah.
The way that they did this, the Kashin and Arachnophobia were not the biggest bad of the entire story. It was the side effects that these people produced, such as the Kashin. His biggest weapon was a byproduct of just him being there.
Right.
And it was the madness that came with his mindset.
Right. And one of the things that I actually really enjoyed was how they portrayed madness and how he was portrayed, and the fact that he really, honestly, wasn't evil.
He wasn't evil to the truest sense. He did start doing Kashin-esque things, like in order to become stronger, to overcome his own fear, he started doing underhanded things, such as consuming innocent souls.
Right.
Which led him down the Kashin path, which was kind of interesting considering the fact that Death or Lord Death, depending on who was addressing him, stated that he was the strongest of his entourage. And more often than not, he would send Ashura, who was the Kashin, off to go do an errand. And by the time that Lord Death would arrive, it was done. The witches were all killed, and there was no other work to be done. So he was uber strong to begin with. So for him to be scared of what, I don't know.
He was just afraid of death, of dying, of being hurt and pain and everything else. And ultimately, that's what led him down more anxiety and a more Kashin-esque path, you could say, which also gave him more anxiety than anything else. And Death even points this out. He tells Ashura that by you doing those things, it only gave you more anxiety.
Which is kind of, I don't know if they were trying to make this a reflection onto society. I highly doubt they were. However, it can be looked at that, where those who strive, who are pushed to gain more either items, power, influence, are usually insecure themselves in some fashion, are trying to make up for what they feel they're lacking in other areas of their life.
Right.
So, I mean, it's kind of, psychologically speaking, it's kind of interesting. That said, the punishment that Ashura suffered, oh damn.
Yeah. In order to
seal him away.
Yeah, to keep him sealed away, so to speak, for him being a Kashin, basically the first one too, on top of that, Death ripped the skin off of him, created a bag out of it, stuffed him in there, and then stripped all the blood out of him too.
Yeah, left a mummified corpse in a bag of skin, and then sealed that underneath the DWA, the school that all these the kids are attending.
Yeah, the DWMA
I don't know about you. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the DWMA is basically sitting on top of this Kashin, where Death embedded his soul in the city and the school to help keep the Kashin there at the same time too.
I thought it was not only to keep him there, but to keep his madness contained. But so more to this point, this was done, what, a few hundred years ago?
Like 800 almost?
Like 800 years ago. I've got no idea how someone like Ashura could fear death to the point of suffering through that and yet still 800 years later be perfectly fine. Well, not perfectly fine, but go through all that pain and agony to still be alive 800 years later, to have all the blood stripped from your body, drained from your body, your skin ripped off, your body mummified, and then your own skin is essentially trapping you for 800 years. And the only thing you need to revive is a couple liters of blood.
Yeah. I wouldn't
Like,
even
what
say
kind
a
of-
couple liters of blood is. It was
It
like
was a
not even
syringe
a
full.
lot.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, how do you live that long and still be afraid to die 800 years ago, knowing full well there's a strong chance you're going to survive until someone kills you?
Yeah, that's a really great question. One that we never will know. But not only that, death. I mean, like when it comes down to the final battle, it's not even death that actually wins.
No, it goes to the whole the kids are the future kind of thing.
But they also, and this is one of the things that I have trouble with, is throughout the series they make references or they refer to like other individuals or other technologies or something else, and then they just leave it at that. Like you learn that Soul, he goes by Soul Eater. You learn that that's not really his last name. His last name, it's Evans.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's some generic crap. Like, and you only find that out because some evil guy calls him Evans, and he's like, "Don't call me that. That's not my name."
Yeah. Like, so wait. Hold on 1 second. Your real name is not Soul Eater. And despite the fact that the name of the show is called Soul Eater, it is not entirely about him. In fact, I would say it's more so about everyone else on of a greater plane than him. Although he does play pivotal points, he is not the key figure. Which, why would you name the show after him if it's not really focused on him?
Well,
I mean, like, I get it. I mean, like, they're basically naming it after the act of them eating souls, but still, like, why?
Yeah. Well, see, what's kind of cool to me is every weapon consumes a soul in a different way. Soul eats them, consumes them orally, where like he chews them up and swallows, and he's like, that's the most delicious thing. But it's not really the taste so much as it is the texture that I like. You're like, that's kind of cool. Weird, but cool. And then Zombie Sid's weapon, who is like this
Dagger?
hunter's knife, maybe?
Yeah.
Consumes the souls by keeping them in her sheath.
Well, you only see that because they're in an area where you're not able to consume it. You don't really see anyone else consume a soul, like ever, at any point in time, even take it into them, other than maybe Tsubaki.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, Tsubaki, but what about the two guns? They used them like their bullets.
No, they're not using the souls like their bullets. They're using their...
I know, but that they carry the souls in the clip.
No, that's not the souls that they're carrying. That's the kid's soul, his soul energy, his wavelength that's being used as a weapon.
No, I understand that's what he's firing off, but I could have sworn in the very first episode we saw the souls be collected into the magazine, and that's why they're like, oh, I've got one more than her and stuff like that.
That's because maybe, but again, you don't know because the only one you see ever do it in a human form.
True.
I mean, if you're not in your human form, you're not going to sit there and say, hang on, cool your jets, bro. While we're in the middle of this hectic area, let me go ahead, just turn into a human and eat this. The only one that you ever really see is Soul Eater.
1 second, let me eat your fallen brethren.
Yeah.
Hold on right there for me for a minute, please. I appreciate
the gesture.
Yeah. And I forget there's a screenwrite or a story writing mechanism, or not a rule, but basically if you bring something up, you should use it by the end of something else. I forget what it's called, but I feel like they brought a bunch of stuff up and never used it, just like you were saying. Specifically, in my opinion, Maka's mother, who is supposedly this, I don't know, prodigy. And she was one of the youngest, if not the youngest, to create a death weapon.
Right.
Who just so happens to be Maka's dad. And this comes into play a little bit later. For no reason.
Yeah. And not only that, You also have Dr. Frankenstein. He is one of the greatest Meisters of all. In fact, he's so strong, he doesn't even really need a weapon to fight because he's able to use his own soul's energy as a weapon, something that Black Star can do as well, but nowhere near on the level as Frankenstein.
What's kind of weird and what they note is Frankenstein, while he is an amazing Meister and he's able to use a scythe like nobody's business, he only ever uses the scythe to defend, and he uses his own energy to attack.
No, he also uses the scythe to attack. He's not afraid to defend with it. And that really comes into play when Maka trying to protect Soul from being injured and hurt, despite him while they're fighting in his scythe form, he ends up turning into a human and gets injured trying to protect her because she's supposed to be using him not only as a weapon, but as a shield, because that is his purpose. That is his meaning. He is going to be used in that fashion.
And he says it multiple times. If I have to die so you'll survive, that is my personal wish. That is my desire. That is my job.
Exactly.
And it frustrated me to no end because they're supposed to be not only on the same level, but they're supposed to be partners that trust each other. And they go through, I don't know, they go through battle after battle after battle, reinforcing, I trust you, you trust me, you can save me, I can save you. We need to trust each other. And every time he's like, look, I need you to trust that I can protect you because without you, I can do nothing. And then every single time she tosses him away and says, I can protect you instead.
Well, not only that
sentiment, but it's frustrating because without her, he's useless. Without him, she can still fight.
Yeah. And what's really interesting is like you were saying, you know, they bring up people and then they don't ever reference them again, or they're not really brought to a center point like it should be or referenced in the proper way. He says a couple of different times later on in the episodes, like around maybe 40s and the 40s, late 30s.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff happened late series.
He realizes that one of the weapons, right, never had a Meister.
You're talking about Justin.
Yes. Justin never had a Meister. He was the only one to never have had a Meister. And
I believe the weapon he was something similar to a guillotine.
Yeah, he was a guillotine.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, like, it would make it a little bit difficult in your weapon form to be used. Hold up right there, bro. Let me just put your head here. We'll get you.
Here, have a nap. You look tired.
Yeah. Which I can understand. I mean, like, no one would want to pair up with him, and so he had to learn how to fight on his own, I guess. But while Soul is watching Justin fight, he goes, "You don't have to have a Meister." He's able to do this without a Meister, and he gives the impression that he's going to try or learn how to fight without a Meister himself, and then nothing ever happens like that.
Yeah, he never does. He's like, I just need to get stronger. I need to get stronger. Oh, we're missing one of the biggest factors in the entire series. Krona and his black blood.
Right, comes in a couple of different spots, and he
ends up being like the fourth character by the end.
Yeah. Like,
so Krona is a evil Meister. And unfortunately, somehow, some way, his blood was extracted from his body. Apparently a super common thing to happen in this world. I don't know. And someone melted down a weapon, and now the blood in Krona's body is this weapon. And the weapon is a bully. And Krona is a weak-minded idiot. Granted, horrible childhood. Horrific childhood. Almost forced into insanity.
Almost?
But nonetheless.
There was no almost forced into insanity. He was forced into insanity.
Yeah, his mother was Medusa the witch. And Krona was a little more than an experimental tool that if she broke it, she figured she can make another one.
Yeah.
And
which was really messed up.
yeah, hard. But his catchphrase, so Black Star was Yahoo! Sid was, when I was alive, I was this kind of man. Corona is, I don't know how to deal with this. I don't think I can deal.
See, and that's the thing, right? See, subs, it was, I don't know how to interact. I don't know how to interact with zombies. I don't know how to interact with girls. I don't know how to interact with people. I don't know how to interact with this. And I guess in the dubs, it's, I don't know how to deal with it. It's like, well, that's entirely two different ends of the spectrum right there. Dealing and interacting are entirely two different things.
Eventually, though, he is brought out of his inability to interact due to Maka and her certain type of attack. Now, one of the things we haven't mentioned is wavelengths. This whole thing is basically built on wavelengths. The wavelength of your soul, the wavelength of your enemy's soul. Meisters are gifted typically with the ability to see, interact, and manipulate wavelengths of a soul.
Correction.
And one of,
not all Meisters are able to see souls.
That's why I said typically. Black Star is a weird.
No. Actually,
no?
Maka is a weird exception. Yeah, that's why it's unusual, because the only other ones that can actually see souls is Dr. Frankenstein. No one else can. Maka can't. Death of the Kid can't. All they can do, they can sense like when someone's near, but the only one that actually can is Frankenstein and Maka, and it's not a common trait.
I did not know that.
Yep.
I always assumed that everyone was able to see them, granted, in their own limited capacity, but Black Star just didn't have his sixth sense either activated, or he just didn't bother using it, because he's like, see these muscles? These 6 muscles are the only muscles, or the only sixth sense I need.
Right. Well, and that's the other thing, right? He's unique in that he can use, like Dr. Frankenstein, use his soul energy as a weapon, right? So basically, Frankenstein is both Maka and Black Star to a degree. I mean, like, not fully, not completely. I mean, like, as you find out at the very end, that just kind of throws your curveball and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Well, the reason I bring up the soul frequency is there's a special attack that every Meister can do called soul resonance, and is where you and your weapon essentially bond and become one. You resonate off of one another, and when the two become one, it doesn't double your power, it multiplies your power. Death the Kid goes from 2 ordinary handguns to legit hand cannons. I'm not talking like the ones where you pull the trigger. I mean, his hands merge with his guns and they turn into the death cannon. It's kind of awesome. Tsubaki and Black Star, they are a pair. Tsubaki is, you find out later, an enchanted weapon that was turned against their will into a weapon. They were born a normal person, and a witch turned them into a weapon, and the weapon decided to go to the DWMA and find their own Meister. And that's how that happened. But when they resonate, they basically earn ninja shadow powers. I don't get it. When Soul and Maka resonate, the Death Scythe, or the Scythe form, gets bigger, and it goes from just a regular old scythe to a move called Witch Hunter. Witch Hunter is exactly what it sounds like. It's meant for witches. And then you have a step beyond that, which apparently Maka and her mother are the only inheritors of this move, called Genie Hunter, which I was like, all right, I guess I understand it. You just power it up and it goes to something else. It's kind of weird you innately know what to call it. And then we see Death a little bit later handling Maka's father, and he uses a move called Kashin Slayer.
Which then, later on, like not too soon after that, Maka is able to use.
But she uses a powered up version of that, I assume.
I would assume so, because she and her mother are the only ones that have this quote unquote anti-magic wavelength that can destroy evil, which is why the Kashin isn't killed by it, because he's technically not evil. He is just the embodiment of madness, which inherently is not evil. It is an emotion or thought process that everyone has the ability to get, regardless of whether or not he's there. So he's technically not evil. I mean, like, yeah, he is pretty evil. He will murder you, but
he's done evil things. Yeah,
he is not evil.
It's kind of weird because it goes to the morality issue, because the genie hunter gets rid of everything evil. It will purge evil from your body. For instance, Medusa, while reviving the Kashin, we assume dies, only to find out a fraction of her soul survived and was able to build upon itself. But Medusa took over this little girl named Rachel. And this is why she's evil. Somehow, some way, she's able to take over this little girl, do some really messed up stuff. And because she's in the little girl's body, she's like, you can't hurt me because you're going to hurt Rachel too. And you're the good guys. You don't want to hurt this little kid. Eventually, I'm going to give this little kid back. And whatever you did to this body, that's on you. Whether or not she would have actually done that, who knows? But when the genie hunter was introduced, for a fraction of a second, the genie hunter swiped the little girl. But because the little girl was not evil, she was unharmed. The witch was expelled from the body and I think destroyed then? That's when she was killed finally?
No, she still lived. Because if you watch the ending scenes, you'll see her again in the snake.
There was that snake, yeah.
Yeah. But that's not the first time you see the genie hunter. That's actually the second time.
That's the second, but
the first time she doesn't know how she's able to summon it, but she ended up doing it. Then her and Soul do some pseudo training to try and do it, but they're not able to. And then you get to that point and it's like, hey, by the way, I could totally do this. And then when she's fighting the Kashin, she's able to go even further beyond to the Kashin Slayer, which then ends up not working.
Because he's not technically, as you were saying, evil. But I'd like to go back a little bit more or not more, but I'd like to jump back in the story a little bit. So back to Krona. Krona was attacked in their first little thing, and so was Soul. Soul was actually injured a lot, and the Black Blood plays a really big part in the overarching story of the evolution of Maka and Soul. The thing that I wish they would have used more of was Maka's, what I figure her ability, her true ability to be, was her exorcism wavelength.
Exactly, right? Because Corona and his Black Blood, Ragnarok, consumed a lot of human souls, which gave them Kashin eggs.
Which made him on the verge of being a true Kashin, a true fully hatched Kashin.
Exactly.
Now, she was able to resonate with Corona, which I find very weird.
No, she didn't resonate with him. She found his wavelength and then was able to get into his soul's domain, so to speak. Not necessarily resonate, but just be able to communicate with him. And that by doing that, she was able to also purify his soul and purify the evil deeds from it, so that way he's no longer a Kashin. Or Kashin egg. He now has normal human souls in him, both him and Ragnarok, which never comes into play later on at all. It's introduced this one time, and then that's it. No, she never purifies anyone else.
That's not quite true. She purifies Soul.
She doesn't purify Soul.
Yes, she does.
No,
he's consumed by madness. The Black Blood got him way messed up, because every time he was trying to get more power, he was using more of the Black Blood's power. At the very end, when they're fighting the Kashin, he uses too much.
But she doesn't purify him.
It goes from overwhelming him to now he's like, well, you're part of me and I'm just going to consume you.
Right. And all you really get from that is not exercising him, because the what is it? That little red demon, I think is what they keep calling him. Still is there. It's never purged from him. And in fact, Soul consumes the red demon because that demon now is a part of him. It's never purged. It's never exercised. All she did was help prevent Soul from completely losing his mind.
I don't know. The reason I think that she used that ability on him was because when she did it to Krona, that white light illuminated, and then that happened.
Well, it wasn't even a white light. It was a yellow light.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, you're right. In both cases, it was yellow. Yellow, white. But yeah, I get what you're saying. But Krona's blood was black to begin with. He couldn't get rid of it, but she did get rid of like all of the madness that came with it.
But the madness was still there. And the same thing, the little red demon was still there with Soul. I mean, like, she didn't get rid of it. She never purged it from him. And if she was going to be able to exercise, right, she doesn't have to be able to do that. I mean, like, if she could have done that with the Kashin and then purified him to remove his powers. I mean,
I have an argument against it.
Okay.
Do you remember when Soul and Mako resonated to the point where she started to have black blood? She coughed it up, and then somehow, some way, she didn't have it anymore, and they couldn't figure out why.
Yeah.
I can only assume she used the purifying thing subconsciously to get it out of her.
Maybe. Or she coughed up what little bit was in her.
That's not possible.
You don't know that.
You're reaching.
I'm not reaching. You're reaching too. Hey. You're reaching just as much as me.
Sir. Evil Knievel couldn't make that jump.
You're reaching just as much as me. All right.
Yeah, but I'm reaching like the top shelf. You're going like
mid shelf. I'm going mid shelf. It's like, yeah, look. Right here. Coughed up black blood. Oh, it's no longer in her system. I mean, like, it's common. It's common, right? You cough up blood all the time and just purifies your own body from the impurities.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I do that. I do bloodletting all the time. It works.
Oh yeah, bro. If you got black blood coming out, we got a little bit bigger problems. we need to talk.
Yeah, I don't call mine Ragnarok though. I call mine Thor.
Fair. When Loki starts talking to you, though, we got to intervene because the madness is taking effect.
Loki already talks to me all the time, man. We're great friends. We go out. We just hung out last weekend, man. It was great times. Great times.
I'll be over there with a scythe.
Such anger. Such anger.
Oh God. But yeah, no, like, so she obviously has an exercising wavelength that they should have used. I thought that was going to be the ace in the hole, because when the Kashin secluded everybody after he kicked the crap out of Death, minor spoilers ahead, Death doesn't kill him.
Black Star doesn't kill him.
Black Star came close. Black Star surprised him.
Black Star surprised him, but Death also came close too.
Yeah. And
they both couldn't go the distance.
Yeah. And I would argue nobody could, because they're fighting with the wrong weapons.
They're not fighting with their heart. They're not fighting with
bravery.
Exactly.
Like, what the actual...
Yeah, bravery is the thing that kills the Kashin, because why not?
Not just bravery. Okay, so...
A bravery and a punch to the face. I'm sorry. Let's clarify this. Yeah. Bravery and a punch to the face.
So I want to point this out. Death the Kid got an amazing final attack out. I thought that was perfect. Like, he hulked out. He did his thing. So the biggest thing that annoyed me the entire series was Death the Kid, and they mentioned this at the very beginning. Death the Kid is all about symmetry, yet he's got 3 lines running on the side of his head. Not symmetrical at all. If you want to win a fight with him, you mention it, and he will self-destruct.
Yeah, exactly.
No bullshit. He'll be like, I'm trash, I'm horrible, kill me now. So if you really wanted to, you could go on. His weapons are hilariously mismatched, but in weapon form, they're identical.
Which is why he loves them.
Yeah, but in human form, one's tall, one's short. The short one has bigger titties than the big one. And that's specifically mentioned because he's like, why? Why, if you guys are going to be different height, why don't you have different everything? And it's hilarious for like 3 seconds and they don't ever mention it again, which I loved. I liked the fact that they touched on it and moved on. It wasn't a staple because everything else was.
Yeah.
But at the very end, he's doing his death cannon thing and he goes, hey, Black Star, I need you to watch my back for a minute. I'm throwing everything at this Kashin. I need you to distract him because I've only got one shot. And in my head, I was like, don't. I started singing the Eminem song, and it was so nice. It was a nice distraction. But he goes and he's charging up, and he's doing his soul resonance thing, and the Kashin, like a true badass, sticks him through the heart with a finger, and everyone's like, what just happened? He falls. Death the Kid falls forward, and all of a sudden, his passed out latent ability turns on. I don't know. I should probably mention, because Death the Kid is Death the Grim Reaper's son, his body is built different, so it takes a lot more to injure him than it would a normal person or a normal being. But he's fully knocked out, and he Super Saiyans it up. He gets up, his soul basically explodes to like 3 times what it was. There's a line, the 3 lines on his head start connecting in halo form, and the Kashin, for some reason, knows what this is.
Yeah.
I don't know. And he says it. I'm like, I wish they would have expanded on that because that sounds way cooler than anything else.
And that's one of the problems, though, right, that I have with this is they touch on things that they could have gone into depth on. They could have like made it really, really cool. And instead, what they did was touched on it for like 2 seconds and then moved past it.
Yeah. I mean, the rings, the name of the rings make it sound like they're 3 seals holding his power inward so he doesn't, like, I don't know, he'll become God or something. But the 3 rings connect, they do their thing. And so usually they get like a resonance of, I think it was 2.67 was the highest.
No, they say the resonance is there. They never specify how much, but they always say noise is at, like, I think the maximum noise was like at 2.9%. And what ends up happening this time is the resonance is at 2000% and there is no noise whatsoever.
Yeah, 0 noise and no recoil. And they're like, we're ready to fire whenever. He fires his shot out. The Kashin takes damage, but like in spectacular fashion, his big body gets destroyed and he's left with his core, which somehow is even more powerful than everything else.
Yeah, because why not? Except for when you get punched in the face with bravery.
We're getting to that. Survives that. Black Star goes in his super enchanted mode, kicks ass too, and they both get their ass handed to them. Now, we already mentioned that Black Star was super strong to begin with and one of the best fighters around, right? At the very end, the thing that kills him, as you've said before, is a fistful of bravery. And I'd like to believe that the Kashin wasn't beaten physically, but mentally and emotionally.
Of course. Because he definitely gives that impression that he was already beaten emotionally and mentally before then.
I don't know.
I mean, how can she not be afraid? How does she not understand this? I don't get it. She what? She what? What? Huh?
Oh, and Maka. What the okay. So at the very end, Soul gets hurt. She's got the Kashin Slayer. It's doing no damage. And Maka is hit. Soul takes like a laser beam and he's down. Maka passes out and you're like, it's all over. And then Maka turns into a scythe.
Yeah, well, we could assume that she's a badass scythe because...
Yeah, way more badass than her partner. Holy crap.
Yeah. And it's like, wait. So she's a Meister with latent weapon abilities. And so
super
she's
badass weapon abilities.
So she's basically both. I mean, like, which makes sense because her father's a weapon and her mother's a meister.
Yeah, I get that, but she can't be the best of both worlds.
Why not?
Like, she was legitimately messing this guy up, cutting him when nothing else could, like pushing him back.
Yeah, why not?
The only thing that, and why she was passed out when she did it. She rock lead him.
Yeah, and so your point is what? Look, sir. I mean, like, what have we said time and time again? What have we said time and time again?
It does not qualify here.
Plot armor is so wonderful, except in this case, it's not just plot armor. Weapon. Exactly. It's a plot weapon.
Oh, God. Like, no, I just... and then,
that kills him, right? The face... The punch to the face. She
punches him in the face, and he's like, why did this do so much damage? And she's like, I used bravery, and everyone's got bravery. And he goes, oh, so it's just like madness and dissolves.
Yeah.
And then
Yay team. What the hell? Why not?
Now, so you watched the ending, right? Like all the way through?
Yes.
I'd like to know your opinion on something. Fools! We have skipped over somebody who is super important. You fool.
Excalibur.
Excalibur
is awesome. He's there for 4 episodes total. Like, you have 3 entire episodes that are strictly dedicated to him.
I would say filler, but it's got nothing to do with anything.
Exactly.
And we touched on it before. There's a character named Hero who goes... So he's the biggest... I don't know. Like submissive personality that could be a Meister available, because Excalibur, while given a massive amount of power, apparently legendary levels of power, requires you to follow 1,000 things a day just to wield him. And Hero, who is already everyone's errand boy, to such a degree, all you got to do is say, hey, only you can do this. And he's like, all right, cool, I'll do it. He comes in and he wipes the floor with everyone just by naming moves, not even doing the moves, just I'm going to do this move, and it happens. Excalibur never shows up, but except at the very end, he's like, I need to observe. They're like, observe what? Observe history. Fools! And you're like, okay. Thanks for helping, sir. But anyway, so at the very, very end, you see Lord Death bury a Kashin egg, right?
Yeah.
He buries a Kashin egg in his little room.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what you want to call it, a sanctuary. Underneath, I don't know if that was a scythe or a cross or whatever. It was weird. It was just like a tombstone, essentially. How many tombstones were in there?
A lot.
Does that mean that many Kashin were like killed by him and buried in his little sanctum area? Because that was, yeah, you're right. It was a lot, like a crazy amount, minimum of 100. How many times has this happened?
I don't know. It's weird, but it's weird that they would even bring that up and show it. Just like everything else, though. I mean, like they bring up a lot of things once, and that's it. It's like you never hear about it again. I mean, like, at least in this case, it was the end of the series, so there's no need to wonder anymore because they decided to end it.
Yeah, we got, I don't know, like...
bamboozled. Cheated.
If they weren't like, yeah. And the bookend they gave you was so flimsy. Like, I don't think it would hold a Dr. Seuss book up.
It wouldn't hold a piece of paper up.
God, I mean, obviously, okay, so it is 100% an ending. There was nothing coming after this. Like, there was no hope for anything. There was no, and next time on Dragon Balls, nothing. There was nothing. It was, this is it. We're done. Story's over. Thank you. Roll credits. But it was so weak. They're like, but we did this on this adventure. They gave you like Snapchat highlights where they're not even any older. They're just doing other things. And you're like,
people you thought were dead aren't even really dead.
Yeah.
So
seriously, like the bad guys you thought were dead weren't even dead.
Even though they killed him off a couple of different times.
Yeah. And you're like, well, with Medusa, I don't know. Maybe she had several different souls going off in an area. I don't know. So maybe it wasn't the same soul.
Who knows?
But
all right. So I think we've pretty much beaten this horse a little bit.
I don't know. It might come back just like that damn snake.
That is very true.
We've learned we've learned here that when you kill something, it doesn't stay dead.
Never stays dead. All right. So on a scale of up to 10.
You know, I talked a lot of shit about this anime, but I've seen a lot worse.
We've both seen a lot worse.
Because I knew what I was walking into, and the story, it was a weird juxtaposition of being annoying and appealing at the same time. I didn't feel like I was getting tired of it. Even the Excalibur ones were so wacky, they kept my attention. Nothing to do with the story, and I would assume filler episodes, but it kept me wanting to watch more. I wasn't bored, and I didn't feel like 51 episodes was too much.
All right.
I'm surprised to say I'm going to say 8.
Okay.
I would recommend this to other people, and I would watch this again.
All right.
I didn't think I was going to go that far. Wow.
I'm going with a 7. And the reason why I'm going with a 7 because there's just some things that just really rub me the wrong way, especially with Yahoo. Just
that dies down. That goes
even
away.
Still, his personality as a whole, like everything about him, I don't like the guy. I really don't like Black Star. I don't. I mean, right. He's annoying. In general, he's annoying. The animation was all right. It was unique. It was different. The sun and moon were definitely very unique, to say the least.
I got a question. Did you ever figure out why the moon's teeth kept bleeding?
Because of murder? I mean, that'd be my guess.
How many people are dying because we saw that the teeth bleed when no murder happened on screen? Dear Lord, that's a very violent world.
It is a very, well, duh. The ruler of it is death. Hello.
Fair.
I mean, like, it was good for what it was. The ending could have been way better, and I was hoping for something a little bit better for the ending rather than a fistful of bravery and a punch to the face. So, all right.
My takeaway from that would probably be something along the lines of, you'll never get rid of madness, but you need the bravery to face the new day, or some philosophical BS.
Yeah. That would be my guess.
All
right.
Well, it's my turn, I believe, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you and I were talking earlier, and we definitely would like to see the new movie for Goblin Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we watch Goblin Slayer in preparation for the movie?
That works for me. I'm good with that. Goblin Slayer is definitely one of my favorite ones. All right.
It's a newer, grittier one, but we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it next time.
Indeed. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us. If you like to share your thoughts on what you thought about Soul Eater or any of the other shows that we have seen and talked about, feel free to join us in our Discord. The information for that is in the show notes. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be in the description for you. And feel free to reach out to us on there as well. Not only that, we're on Facebook and Twitter, and you can leave a comment on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to us. It will help us out. And if you can leave a rating, that also does help us out too. Until next time, I'm Jack.
Fools! I'm Rick, and we'll see you later.